All right, so today we're going to be talking about the economy and why you should consider moving to the city of Lathrop, California. Check it out. All right, well, welcome back, everybody. So today we're talking about the economy, and specifically as it pertains to the city of Lathrop and its impact to the surrounding areas and even to a greater extent, the state of California. And so with that topic in mind, we have, I think, probably the best, definitely the best person that can speak to that, and that is a head, or as her official title is, I believe, the Administrator of Economic Development, Shelley Bertram, for the city of Lathrop. So Shelley, thank you for joining the podcast today.
Welcome. Thank you. And welcome to our city here, too.
Yes, absolutely. I appreciate that. So as it pertains to like the economy, there is a famous line, I'm sure that you can remember. It's even famous today during the 1992 U.S. presidential election race, and that was, "It's the economy, stupid." And really what that means is, the essence of that is that the economy is obviously the ultimate lifeblood of a nation, and today is specifically the city of Lathrop. And so I want to definitely get into this topic and discuss this with you as it pertains to the makeup of the city of Lathrop. But before we do that, I kind of wanted to delve into maybe your professional background.
Sure.
You know, tell us about your background as it pertains to your position here as the head or administrator of economic development.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
I'm the Economic Development Administrator for the City of Lathrop. I have been doing economic development in general for about 25 years throughout San Joaquin County. Born and raised in Stockton area, so very, very familiar with San Joaquin County and Lathrop. I started off my career at the San Joaquin Partnership, which is a private nonprofit economic development corporation that marketed the whole county to attract businesses. And as you said, you know, the economy is very important to have the businesses here so that we have places for our residents to be able to work, so that they can spend their income, disposable income, in the community, which generates sales tax dollars. So that whole cycle of a healthy economy. And then I went to the public sector. I worked at the City of Tracy as their economic development manager for about 3.5 years, and then saw that Lathrop was just a booming city, and decided to come over to the City of Lathrop when they opened up a position for economic development here.
Gotcha. And what year was that? I'm sorry.
2019 is when I came over here, right.
Got it. Okay. And so I believe I saw when I was doing a little research on yourself, at least on the city's website, something about a certificate as it pertains to economic development.
Yeah. What I held my certified economic developer certification, and that's through the International Economic Development Council. And then also I hold an economic development finance professional certification, which is issued by the National Development Council. So they're related to economic development.
That's good. That's awesome. Thank you for saying that. And so maybe talk about some of your highlights in this role, you know, specifically in the city of Lathrop, and maybe some big wins that you've been able to secure and make happen for the city.
Sure. Well, like I said, I've been doing this a long time in this area, so there's a lot there. Yeah. So one of the larger wins, especially for Lathrop, was actually bringing Tesla here. I didn't work for the city at that time, but I had assisted with the process of facilitating and coordinating the right people. Since Tesla first came here, which was they located in about a 430,000 square foot facility, turned it into their molding and casting manufacturing operation. It's very close to their Fremont facility. Now they have about 8 different facilities here, locations in Lathrop. They have more than 3,000 employees. people that they employ.
That's good.
They are also very diversified in what they have here in Lathrop. So it's not just all about the electric vehicle, the Tesla car, but they do have, component manufacturing here for that, and the remanufacturing of the drivetrain and the batteries. They also have a distribution facility, so all of their swag, you have swag here.
Yeah.
So, their hats and their different things for
Yeah.
their cars, they distribute out of here. Also, their energy component, so their solar, their battery packs, all of that is distributed from here. They have maintenance yards. They also have the Mega Pack facility, which we're very proud of. That's the utility scale battery packs. They're as big as a container that go on a truck,
Oh, wow.
the shipping trucks.
Yeah.
And those are for utility scale, to make sure that our power continues. So,
That's good. So you mentioned they have now eight locations or 8 facilities that they operate.
In Lathrop.
What do you remember how many facilities that they operated when they first came to the city?
When they first came, it was just the one. They started with the one. I think
Wow.
it was about 2013, 2014. But also we have their vendor suppliers here. So
Okay.
there was a Korean company who is a vendor supplier to Tesla called Simwon.
Yes.
And funny story, I actually was working at the city of Tracy at the time.
Okay.
And working with the Korean gentleman who was trying to bring the company there. He needed a facility right away. They needed to move fast. And I brought in developers and I was trying to sell him on the city that I was working for.
Yeah.
And it just couldn't fit his timing. Well, I knew that there was a building over here in Lathrop. So I called the city manager and said, hey, I'm going to give you one.
So you helped us before you even came. That's
I
good.
did.
You're already vouching for the city.
Yeah, and it's not, especially in economic development, I think you need to think regionally because not all of the people that work in Lathrop are from Lathrop. So we're drawing in a regional hub for employment.
Yeah.
So it's important to help everybody.
No, that's good. On that note, are there any things on the horizon that your department has your eyes on in terms of development, or possibly something in the works that you
Oh my
would
gosh,
be able to
everybody
share?
always asks us. It's really important. I wish that I could just tell you everything, but confidentiality is really a key component to trust.
Yeah.
And the trust of the developers, the companies that are wanting to come or expand here. You just don't want to upset their supply chains or anything like that. So
Sure.
it is key, and I'm sorry I can't tell you everything. But what I can tell you is, one of the reasons why I was hired, I have a huge industrial background, but more so for retail. We have a huge influx of people that are from the San Francisco Bay Area that have decided to come to family-friendly communities like Lathrop. They can afford to buy a home. They have lots of events. We just got through having our July 1st celebration, our police department celebration. So lots of different things and activities that are here. So it's important, the folks that are coming from the Bay Area, a lot of them still commute back to the Bay for work, usually have a little bit greater disposable income to spend, but they're also used to the amenities that they can get over in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah.
And so we're a small city growing rapidly, and we're trying to catch up with that retail component. We know that, our residents would love to have a nice sit-down restaurant, a steakhouse. I'm hearing it from our mayor all the time. We have one bank in town. It'd be nice we have a couple ATMs. Be nice to have another bank in town. Entertainment things, a movie theater, a bowling alley, something that the family can, Top Golf, I know everybody wants that. We're working on that too.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Well, we're trying. But those types of things, that's what I do, is go out and try to attract those types of venues here. We were successful just recently in getting Sprouts, which was a huge win.
Absolutely, I agree.
And I think people are enjoying it. I do, I know, going over there.
Yeah.
So.
Good quality food, I agree. I agree. So that's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear at least at least what you can share, such as Top Golf, there's definitely
Oh,
some
now,
things in
now
the work.
see there, you're trying to put words in my mouth.
Oh, okay. You guys are talks. I'll put it that way. So that's definitely good to hear. I did not know that your, I guess, specialty, or I guess you can call it, is retail.
Actually, my specialty is more industrial, but
Industrial,
no, retail
okay.
is one of the main reasons attraction. Right.
Got it. Okay, well, that's good to know. So, kind of switching gears and diving a little more specifically as it pertains to the cycle of the economy, or economy in general. From a bird's eye view, basically what this entails for the audience is the ability to create a cycle whereby a locality benefits from the production of its goods or services, and the money generated is then put back into that economy. Thus, the cycles continue to the point where businesses not only grow but expand to the point where it attracts both domestic and very potentially also foreign investment. And so, on that note, if you could talk to us maybe about some of the things that the city has done to create that sort of cycle of self-sustainment that is obviously ideal for any given economy.
Well, you said it too. It's important for us to attract opportunities and employers that provide living wage jobs for our residents, so that they have disposable income and can meet their needs for quality of life purposes. The sales tax dollars that are generated in the city to the city are used to put back into the city for road maintenance and parks. We have beautiful parks, landscaping. I'm sure you've seen some of the new landscaping with the palm trees and everything. Palm trees,
right.
that have been put up in the city. We're very proud of that. We are a proud city of wanting to maintain that higher quality that we think is expected of us from the residents.
That's good. And I think I can say, as a resident of the city of Lathrop, I'm definitely proud of that fact. Like you said, it definitely does say something to the quality, kind of the quality of life really of the city, and obviously it speaks to the staff and the leadership that you guys have here at the city. So that's definitely a huge plus.
Absolutely, and you have to maintain the infrastructure. So the businesses that we're attracting here, and the businesses that we maintain, that are here, they're very important to us too. It's not just all about bringing in new businesses, because just like we said, Tesla came in and they expanded. Creating more jobs and putting more investment into the community. Simwan America is a foreign direct investment company who has invested here. They're a supplier to Tesla, but they've expanded and created more jobs. JR Simplot is here. Diamond Pet Products, California Natural Products, lots of different employers. I think people tend to think that we are a logistics hub, which we are. The whole county in the northern Central Valley is more of a logistics hub, but we have a lot of manufacturing that takes place here too, and import and export of items.
That's good.
We have the benefit of our location is we have two ports access. We have the Port of Stockton,
right,
and then we also have the Port of Oakland. So
well, that's good.
Those are key things.
Yeah, no, I agree. So that's definitely good. Where do you see the city's growth in that respect, over the next, say, 5 to 10 years? Obviously, like you mentioned, we got the In-N-Out warehouse, and obviously the actual In-N-Out restaurant here, Sprouts, Tesla, and then Kraft Heinz, I believe, that you mentioned before. Here in Lathrop is more of a distribution center. But nevertheless, those are definitely some big names that have come to the city of Lathrop. So where do you see the city's growth over the next 5 to 10 years? The city, we do pride ourselves in intelligently planned growth, and I think your viewers that are familiar with Lathrop will be able to see that in the residential side and the industrial side. Planned communities like River Islands that has, it has plans for commercial development. It has, all the homes that are being built there, beautiful parks, beautiful waterways. So I think that is key. Stanford Crossing is building up as well. And it has a huge area available for commercial development. The city just recently, the council
had rezoned a portion of the property north of Dos Reyes all the way to the city limits.
Okay.
So on the west side of the freeway for industrial.
Oh, okay.
So there's still land opportunities for more development, and I think that with the way that we're growing, we're one of the fastest growing city. Actually, we were voted the fastest growing city.
The fastest growing.
In California,
Yeah,
we had 11.1% growth over last year in our population change. And then we were also number one in for the most single-family housing, the percentage of growth that we had there, and multifamily.
Yeah, and that's definitely obviously a huge win for the city, but that's also speaks to obviously what you guys have done all here in the staff in general, from your department to the city manager and so on. Yeah, that's definitely a huge testament. Do you see that growth? Well, I guess from my perspective, it certainly seems, from all the planned developments, and we'll talk about it here in a minute as well. But do you see that growth percentage maybe, or that growth cycle continuing, or do you see it even beyond that, more of like snowballing to it actually gets increasing in expedited fashion?
I see. Like I said, I've been in this area my whole life.
Yeah.
And for a number of years, we've seen the influx of people moving from the Bay Area over this way. California as a whole is seeing some exit of population, but our area definitely is not, especially the South County cities in San Joaquin County. I think that will continue to increase.
Yeah.
You had asked me a second ago, and I wanted to touch on this.
Sure.
One of the things that the city has also done is keep in touch with their infrastructure that is there. One of the things, making sure that the roads are maintained and taken care of. The landscaping that was upgraded and put in. Also, we just finished an outfall project, which is a huge thing you're going to hear more about. But what that does is it allows us to take our treated wastewater and discharge to the river, instead of having to discharge it to land application, which took a lot of land that the city had to be able to do that. Now we finally received permission to discharge to the river, which Stockton does, which Manteca does,
As opposed
and Tracy
to
does.
dispersing it to
To
the
land.
to the aquifer. Okay.
Yeah, well, no, it's not necessarily aquifer, it's just land.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's it. Oh,
yeah.
interesting. Okay.
So this is a huge thing, that is available to us now that wasn't before. So.
Got it.
I think too, Valley Link is a new rail system that is being talked about and gaining a lot of momentum and traction at the state and the federal level. This was an extension. Well, it's its own rail system, but it would connect directly from our region all the way up to the BART station in Dublin Pleasanton, right up to the platform. Right now we have Ace Rail, which goes to the Silicon Valley, and it takes commuters 3 times a day down and 3 times a day back.
Yeah.
Valley Link will be a true public transit system back and forth. It's supposed to run every 20 minutes. So those things are getting put in place. There's 2 platforms that will be stations that will be here in Lathrop. One is on River Islands, and one will be at the former Sharp Army Depot at the corner there in McKinley and Lathrop Road. That will also be Ace train station, a transfer station where they can transfer to one to the other.
Got it.
Saying that, I think that they're slated about 2028 is when that's supposed to start. I think that's going to open huge opportunities for connectivity to the Bay Area, for those folks to come here and us to go there, for recreation, but more so for business.
Yeah, no, that would definitely be huge. That would be a huge win, obviously, from an economic standpoint, job standpoint, and even personal residents who want to travel, via rail in this case, directly from Lathrop all the way to San Francisco.
Right.
In that case, so that would definitely be a huge win for everyone, really, and obviously, naturally, that's going to attract businesses and residents alike to come to the city of Lathrop.
Absolutely.
Thus increasing the quality of life and really lifting the whole city at large. So that's really good to hear. On that note, I was going to ask the question later, but since we're talking about it now,
I'm kind of all over the place.
no, it's okay. I know when it was first talked about, or first the creation of the Valley Link, as it's called, connecting the Central Valleys, specifically Lathrop, all the way to the San Francisco Bay Area directly through the ACE and the BART system. What is, I know you mentioned 2028 is the current timeline for operation?
Yeah, that's kind of what's been talked about. I am in no way an expert on this,
Sure.
but people can look it up themselves at valleyrail.org.
Okay.
And so that gives them the timeline, it gives them the railway. It's my understanding that there's like 12 miles of track that still need to be laid. There's, financial portions that need to be secured, even though the state and federal government have come on board.
Okay.
Environmental studies I know have been kicked off. It's a process,
Yeah.
and then not only building those stations too.
Right.
So
There's still some construction of the actual line that needs to get
oh,
built.
absolutely. Yeah.
Do you know, or maybe you can speak to, at least from a high level, what are like the main hurdles or impediments at this point? Obviously, because like I mentioned, it's gotten pushed out at least a few times. I want to say the first.
I don't know that it's really been pushed out. I think it's just a matter of the process.
Okay.
We all want instant gratification. That's how we are as Americans, right? We want it right
Yeah.
now. But there is a process that you have to go through. And so, like I said, the environmental, getting the financing in place, all of those things are taking place and really gaining some momentum. So, I heard it first 2027, then 2028.
Right. Yeah.
So those are just, placeholders.
Got it.
So hopefully,
Far out
things look-
placeholders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so, kind of want to talk about local businesses and really dive into that.
Sure.
We mentioned like Tesla is obviously, you mentioned a big employer in the city. I think over 3,000 people you mentioned.
About.
And then, the other manufacturing companies that we have in the city that you mentioned, California Natural Products, Simon America, and then also even, In-N-Out Burger. Talk about some of the incentives, and I know it's on the website, but definitely want to put it out there as well. Talk about some of the incentives or reasons that you feel that made it possible for some of those companies like we discussed to move to Lathrop in the first case.
Yeah, I think the biggest incentive, there's a lot of incentives for businesses, especially manufacturers and in key industries at the state level, federal level, local level, as far as the county, for job employment, for job training, employment training, and reimbursement of those training dollars back to the employer. But the biggest one that the City of Lathrop provides is being able to expedite and work with the developers of the project or the companies to get their permits in a timely fashion.
Got it.
The worst thing you can do to a new company that's trying to develop here is delay their process, because all that does is add time and money. And so the quicker we can do that, the better. And I said earlier, it's an intelligently planned community, and really from the top down. Our city manager, his background was from private sector. My background was from private sector.
Yeah.
We think a little differently than a typical government agency.
I think, coming from the private sector myself and now working for an operator, similar in analogy to, coming from the private sector to working for a city, I think that's great. That's good, because it gives you that experience to execute to a large degree. So
and Lathrop is very unique in the fact that we work smart. We communicate with each department. We get together. We talk about things to make sure that we have a solution to things, and not just try to throw up obstacles to the developer. We work with them.
That's good.
It's a key component that I'm very proud of, and I know that our city leadership is too.
Yeah, no, that's good. Can you elaborate on that at all in terms of the, like you mentioned, the smart
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. He's leading in. So one of the things that I've done here at the city is bring a tagline called Lathrop Smart. And being that it's a smart place to do business. Businesses are locating here because of our proximity to the Bay Area or to large population centers, and they can serve those populations. It's a smart city because, as we talked about earlier, it's a smaller community with a great quality of life, great parks, great activities that are here, good schools. So I think that the city works smart, our staff works smart to try to achieve the goals of the developers and of new businesses coming in and for our residents. So I think it's a tagline that fits.
That's
So,
good. That's
yeah.
good. Specifically for small local businesses, can you talk about maybe any incentives or grants that the city has available or at the fingertips of those interested in setting up a business here?
Yeah, we have, you're talking a lot about incentives and grants.
Yeah.
They're really, those are at other levels, not necessarily at the local
Okay.
level, but we do have programs and resources that we pull together to help those small businesses. The Small Business Development Center, we connect them so if they need to help writing a business plan or
Got
help
it.
finding out who is a good auditor or somebody to help set up their CPA and set up their books and that kind of thing, marketing, whatever it might be.
Okay.
We also have San Joaquin County iHub, which is an innovation hub, and it's a state designated innovation hub, and I participate on that board to try to promote entrepreneur type programs.
Got it.
So it's we have a lot of entrepreneurs in the area. I think people, especially during COVID times, saw they can work from home and maybe thought, I don't want to commute anymore. I want to work from home. What can I do?
yeah.
You're one of those.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a podcast.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I
psychic.
think that, we've got to pay attention to that. The other thing that we did here at the city to help our businesses promote themselves is created a online business directory, and of course it's called the Lathrop Smart Business Directory. It's available on our website. We also have an app that goes directly on your phone. It's called Lathrop Cares. That is, and so the Lathrop Smart Business Directory is on there as well. So if you're looking for a place to eat and you don't know where to eat, or maybe somebody to fix your car, and you want to shop local, you
That would
can
all be
look
on
on
the
that.
app. Okay.
Absolutely. Also, the Lathrop Cares app helps, like, say that you see, maintenance issues around the city. Maybe there's a tree that fell or a water main that broke. You can take a picture of it on that app, and it sends it directly to the people that will take care of it.
That is smart.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's smart.
So, in terms of, I guess, just going back real quick to tie the loop on the small businesses or maybe like new businesses, what's the best way for them to go about that? Would they just go on the city's website, contact you directly, or what's the
Yeah,
best
they
way?
can contact me directly by going to, it's econdev, so ECONDEV @ci.lathrop.
And we'll put that in the we'll put that in the description
.ca.us,
below. So.
Right. And then it's on the website. You can go to economic development and look, or you can call me. My phone number is on there as well.
Got it.
And then I can connect you to those resources. I do have some of the resources listed on the website as well for that. There's a revolving loan funds. There's financing, all types of different things that can help
Okay.
small businesses.
So it sounds like there's a vast amount of resources available
Yes,
to
there
those.
are.
That's good. Okay, so now wanted to discuss the topic of city development at large. Obviously we were discussing earlier, Lathrop has grown to a great degree, and certainly still very much is in the beginning phase of that growth stage, I would say. Obviously, like you mentioned, to the point where the city of Lathrop has become the state of California's fastest growing city, and I think probably very likely will hold that title for quite some time. At least the
We've
way
been in the top 5 for a
Yeah.
long time, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's very good, and obviously speaks to what your staff is doing at the city as well. Between like the planned housing you mentioned at River Islands and also Stanford Crossing, I believe, if my numbers are correct, that would add like an additional roughly over 17,000 houses in its final completion. That's not even mentioning the nearly, I believe I've seen 1,000 lots being planned for Mossdale Landing West, and then also Eagles Landing. And, you know, that's not even talking about all the apartments,
Right.
all the apartment units that are under construction currently and those that are being built. And so really at the close of it all, there's going to be nearly close to, if not exceeding, 100,000 people in the city of Lathrop, which is it is a good thing, because again, it's testament obviously to that cycle that we were discussing earlier of creating a cycle of self-sustainment, where people not only want to come here, but they want to stay here and raise up their families and work in the city of Lathrop, as opposed to becoming or remaining a bedroom community. But you know, the cycle of self-sustainment is created and thrives for the city of Lathrop, and obviously that will impact all the surrounding areas, and obviously, you know, from a tax point of view, the state of California. So it's definitely a win-win for everybody. With that being said, 100,000 people in the future,
Yeah.
right? And even today, there's, you know, over 35,000 people in the city of Lathrop. When my family moved here in 1989, I believe there was close to 5,000 people. So that's 7,000 or 7 times more already. And so, needless to say, the city is quickly growing and continuing to grow to a very high degree. That brings me to my next point, that there's definitely a greater need to provide additional services, and I think you kind of touched on it a little earlier, to the city. On the commercial side of things, what can you tell us about any planned developments, whether that be like retail, or even, you know, you kind of mentioned a little bit like sit-down restaurants. What can you tell us about that?
So, I mean, that is key.
Yeah.
The thing that these retailers look at, including Topgolf, Trader Joe's, they want to look at how many people you have in a certain geographical area. So that's very important that we're growing and we're the fastest city. They also look at education levels, income levels. So we may want them, but they may not want us yet. But at some point, you know, they'll come.
Why do you say that?
Because we're not maybe at that point what they're looking for.
Okay.
So, you know, like a Topgolf, they want a little bit larger population.
Oh, okay. So you're
Regional
talking about strictly
population.
metrics.
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
gotcha.
But as you said, we're
Yes.
growing, and you know, 100,000 people down the road, that just makes us more attractive to those types of retailers. Some of the new things that I can talk about that are coming, and you probably see the development, is the new gas station, Chevron gas station, that is across the street from Chipotle and the Target Shopping Center, Lathrop Marketplace. There's going to be a convenience store there, gas station. There's going to be a Jamba Juice. And then there's still an open space of about 1,000 square feet for another type retailer. And then Blue Rain Car Wash is going to be next to that, which my car will be happy for that.
Yeah, right.
And then there's going to be Ono Hawaiian Barbecue and Wendy's next to that.
Okay.
We have seen a real interest in this area for hotels. So we have a Home 2 by Hilton that is going to be being built. Marriott, the Fairfield Inn by Marriott is just finishing up its final details on Manthe. You can see it off the freeway. Immediately behind that is another Marriott brand, which will be Marriott Town Place Suites, that's going to develop there. And we're still seeing a little
On that
bit more
same
interest behind it.
Behind it.
Yeah, they're separate lots, but it's right behind it.
Yeah.
Right.
Parcel, yeah.
So, but we have, you know, there's always discussions going on, and like I said, we want it right now, but it always doesn't happen that quickly. We're out there marketing the city, going to different trade shows for traction of retailers and the businesses, and trying to connect them to the property owners and the developers of that. We have a lot of land, a lot of freeway frontage, and that's what a lot of those retailers desire too. So it'll happen. It's coming.
Okay. No thing that you can sort of show us right now. So where the gas station is that you mentioned, I'm familiar, obviously, live in Lathrop. I believe I saw, and I don't know if you can speak to this, or maybe it's more of like a potential development on the opposite side, opposite corner of the gas station, I believe I seen something to the
You mean
effect
at
of like,
Lathrop Road and
yeah, on the same side
Golden
as it,
Valley?
on the opposite side of In-N-Out, on that same land where the new gas station
Yeah.
is being developed. On the opposite corner of that, there was, I believe I saw something to the effect of like a restaurant.
Well, there'll be quick serve restaurants.
Oh, I see. Quick
So those are the
serve.
ones that are fronting River Island Parkway.
Okay.
And so that would be next to the Blue Rain Car Wash will be a Ono Hawaiian barbecue.
Right.
And the one next to that will be a Wendy's.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that's going to be
Right.
opposite side of the Jamba Juice then, correct? Or is it going to be on the
Jamba
same?
Juice is going to be over by the gas station.
Right.
Right.
So
right.
the Wendy's is going to be in that same complex or the opposite?
This
end?
down closer to the freeway.
That's why. Okay, that's what I thought.
Right.
Okay, so that's where the Wendy's is going to be then.
Right, right.
I
And then
see.
the owner of, there's a couple different owners, but the major developer of that area or owner, is trying to put together a whole master plan for that area.
Okay.
We'd like to see some sort of a big box as an anchor, of course, come in.
Yeah.
And then some more sit-down restaurants or fast casual restaurants would be really cool.
Yeah.
And not to say that we're not talking to some of those, we just can't say who they are yet. So.
Yeah, got it. So on that note, I know one of our audience members actually brought up the question. I think it's a good question, so I'll ask you here. Santana Row, San Jose. Are there any plans for a type of that sort of mixed-use development here in the city? I know.
So I know that
Yeah.
Susan DeLosa, who is the president of River Islands,
Yes.
And master plan developer, yes, she's planning some types of development over on the island that way.
Got it.
There is, again, the Valley Link, the train station, there is one plotted for River Islands, and around that area, there will be a transit-oriented district with, multi-use, so
Got
it'll
it.
have retail, it'll have homes, different things like that. Also, over by where the baseball diamond and the soccer fields are, and the
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Welcome Center for River Islands, there's plans there for apartments and different things too, and a little
Okay.
row of retail and that kind of thing too.
Okay.
But there is an employment center on River Islands, and that will strictly be for office and commercial development. It will not allow any type of industrial warehouse or any type of use like that.
That's good. That's good to know.
But I think what will be key there, and I've always thought that will be a good, having that public transit back and forth to the
Mm-hmm.
Bay Area and that connection. Those companies that were maybe hesitant to move out to the valley because they wanted to be in that synergy of, the think tank for Silicon Valley,
Yeah.
we could have a satellite office and they could still go back to, the Silicon Valley. However,
Got it.
Zoom is kind of taking care of all that. You could pretty much work from everywhere.
Yeah, which obviously is a reason for people to move to the city of Lathrop, the fastest growing city. So, like you said, the quality of life is here and at a much cheaper cost than, say, San Francisco or another, San Francisco.
San Jose or-
Yeah, the San Francisco Bay Area city over there. So, is there, I know I keep asking this, but on that strip of land, kind of go back to where the new gas station and the Wendy's is being developed on that, basically between Lathrop Road and, or Louise Avenue and Lathrop Road, you have the storage center that's
In the
roughly
middle.
in the middle, and some apartments just to the north of that that's being, or at least being planned for. I believe it's a Stanford Crossing apartment complex right in the corner, right near the signal light.
So there are, it is high-density residential that will be on the west side of Golden Valley Parkway at Stanford Crossing. That is for high residential. I don't know that a project is fully secured
it.
there for that.
Sure.
The other side, on the east side of Golden Valley, that's where the Home 2 by Hilton will be. And there's
Okay.
also discussion of a senior living facility.
Got
Which
it.
is much desired in the community too. All of our parents are getting older and,
Yeah.
we want to have them closer to us, so.
Do you know, and I'm sure you can't get into any specifics, and I understand that, are there anything, at least, is there any plans, at least in the works, or even, maybe even discussion for retail development on that whole strip of land between Louise Avenue and Lathrop Road?
Oh, yes, that's all
Okay.
commercial.
Yeah, I know it's commercially zoned, but
Commercial, and yeah, and
So
like
there's
I said
something-
earlier,
yeah.
the developer
Sure.
is looking at some sort of a master
for the
plan.
whole,
Yeah, for that whole
Okay,
section.
okay.
I don't know if they can see the map, but
maybe not.
yeah, but it goes from, can you see it?
Yeah, I can move it.
Yeah, so it's, this is the Target Shopping Center.
Right.
This is Louise Avenue
Yep.
or River Island Parkway. This is Lathrop Road. Here's
Correct.
that
Storage facility.
storage facility. So all of this area is under one ownership, except for the end caps. And so they're looking at putting together a whole master plan so that when they go to attract different businesses to fill that up, like I said earlier, a major anchor,
Right,
big box
right.
development of some
Yeah,
sort,
yeah.
then some restaurants. They kind of have pads
That's
laid
good.
out.
Well,
and
I'm
ideas.
glad to hear that that's being talked about, at least being planned out.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's definitely, as a local resident here in Lathrop, and whether or not you live here in Lathrop or, not, it will obviously benefit everyone. So I'm glad to hear, that at least that's being planned.
Absolutely.
As opposed to just being piecemeal developed.
No.
So that's
No.
even good to hear that it's basically being owned, or it is owned and being developed by one organization or one company. So that's
Right,
really
right.
good to hear. Okay, well that's good. One of the topics I also wanted to talk about, I know we've discussed a little bit, is a quality of life. And obviously that is important as it relates to the topic of the economy. It's not just strictly dollars and cents, but quality of life is really a part of or makeup of the economy of a locality. And some of the things that really goes into quality of life, as you already obviously know, education, amenities such as like even the Generation Center, resources, whether it's for employment, healthcare, or other veteran services, and then arts and culture. In your mind, what are some top things that really stand out that can speak to the city of Lathrop what it offers in terms of quality of life?
Yeah. The first thing that stands out when you're saying that is we
Sure.
have an awesome Parks and Recreation division. And they work really hard on different programs for the community to get involved in. We talked about the July 1st celebration, which was the birthday of the city of Lathrop that just took place. The city developed their own police department. In a 15-month process, council said, no, it's time for us to start a police department. They did that in 15 months, just celebrated their first birthday. So our parks department is really good at involving the community in different things and holding different events for children during the summer, that type of thing. Seniors, and providing lunches, those types of things. The thing also, our parks are very unique, and they're very attractive to folks that don't always live here because our parks are so nice.
I've certainly seen that as well.
Yeah, so they have, the shelters, they have places that they can, barbecue, they have gym equipment. You can walk around the park, and then if you want to do the little gym steps too. River Island's just dedicated a walking trail around the island to the Gatto family. And so there's lots of different recreational activities that way. Dog parks, we all love our dogs, I think.
Yeah.
I do. So those are things that are here. The schools are very good. Most of the schools on the east side of the river are serviced by Manteca Unified School District. The schools on River Islands are part of the Banta Unified School District. So they have, the STEM Academy, they're charter schools, the STEM Academy. They just broke ground on a brand new high school in River Islands.
Yeah.
So those are all very exciting things. We also, didn't touch on this a little bit, but the Manteca Unified School District also has the adult school, and it's they have a Manteca Education and Training Center. And I think it's really important for your viewers, especially those that are looking to upskill, and they can teach them electrician skills. They can teach forklift, the logistics, pneumatics, all these different things, welding, all of these different traditional vocational skills. And some of those things are getting back in the schools finally. I think we all realize that not everybody and not every child is going to go to college. So I think that's, a critical component in our economy to make sure that we sustain that workforce that's most desired by our employers and one that complements our residents.
Well, that's good. Yeah, that's I would say all encompassing. So that's really good to hear.
Absolutely.
As we wrap up the discussion here, is there any want to give you opportunity to maybe talk about or address any topics or maybe any questions that we haven't discussed in the interview, and just kind of give you the final word on that.
Well, I think I often get folks that they have ideas of things that they'd like to see here in Lathrop, different types of entertainment or different types of restaurants or different things. I'm always open to that. Shoot me an email and say, hey, I'd really like this here. Doesn't mean that.
Well, put your contact. Careful.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that they're going to come, but we still will do that outreach. And if we meet their criteria, at least we get on their radar, and I think that's really key. So no, I love what I do, and it's very cool that when you've helped a company. As little part as I may have, but you help it come into the community and say maybe one of your friends or family members all of a sudden gets a job there. It's a very rewarding thing.
Absolutely.
So.
I agree. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We definitely appreciate it. And thank you guys for tuning in today. Again, if you found value in this video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. There will definitely be a lot more videos and great content that we cover. And I think I mentioned to you before, next that we're going to be discussing, as we continue on the discussion of the economy, specifically as it pertains to the city of Lathrop, we'll be sitting down with some executives at some bigger companies here in Lathrop, and also some local business owners as well, as we continue the discussion of the economy in the city of Lathrop, and really just put it out that it's all about Lathrop. So until then, we'll see you next time. Have an awesome day. Thank you.